Latvia moves to restrict distribution of 7 RT programs, while RT and Sputnik achieve higher social media engagement than reputable media in France and Spain and Germany, and Russian revisionism of World War II gets a helping hand from Vladimir Putin. Welcome to StopFake, the place where we dissect Russian disinformation about Ukraine and a little more. So let's get to it. Latvia's National Electronic Mass Media Council has moved to restrict the distribution of 7 RT, formerly Russia Today, programs throughout the country. Latvian security services have determined these 7 channels, RT, RT HD, RT Arabic, RT Spanish, RT Documentary HDRT, RT Documentary, RT TV, to be the most influential Russian propaganda channels in Western Europe. These channels are being restricted because they are effectively controlled by Dmitry Kiselev, who has been sanctioned by the Council of the European Union for undermining the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence of Ukraine. Now, RT is a network of television outlets for the international community. It was established in Russia in 2005 and distributes programs in English, Spanish, Arabic, and other languages, and its content is always consistent with the Kremlin's official position. RT has consistently tried to portray Latvia as a failed state. Kiselev is the Kremlin's main television presenter and one of the most visible propagators of Russian propaganda. It was Kiselev who claimed that Russia was the only country that could turn the United States into radioactive ash. Given that Kiselev is subject to sanctions throughout all of the European Union, Latvia's Electronic Mass Media Council will inform media regulators in other EU countries about their decision and urge similar distribution restrictions throughout the EU. Council Chairman Ivars Abulinš said, quote, "The evidence we have obtained is very strong, and we will ask all EU regulators to follow our example and restrict RT on their territory. There is no place for such programs either in Latvia or in the European Union. The Council's decision will come into force upon notification and will remain in force until Kiselev is removed from the EU sanction list." Our colleagues at EU vs. Disinfo report that a recent study by the Oxford Internet Institute has found that in France, Germany, and Spain, on social media, coronavirus-related content published by RT and Sputnik can achieve a higher average engagement per article than reputable media outlets. On Twitter and Facebook, RT and Sputnik content in Spanish at times reached up to 16 times greater engagement than major national outlets like El País and El Mundo, while RT and Sputnik articles in French produced up to 5 times the engagement of material from Le Monde and Le Figaro, France's mainstream content providers. The results for Germany show the lowest engagement, but still almost twice as much when compared to the Der Spiegel and Tagesschau media groups. Over the course of 3 weeks in May and June, Oxford Internet Institute researchers monitored the Spanish, French, and German language distribution of COVID-19 news from Russian, Chinese, Iranian, and Turkish state-backed outlets. According to the study, state-backed outlets from Russia, China, Iran, and Turkey have smaller distribution networks compared to the major news outlets. Although they could not match the overall volume of engagement from the major outlets, information products from state-backed media did in fact manage to attract significant median engagement per article. What's really interesting is that the Oxford Internet Institute study found that the most engaging coronavirus-related reporting distributed by state-backed media presented a combination of reputable and false or misleading information. Now, that's in keeping with the construct of the Kremlin's active measures program. A kernel of truth has to be attached to disinformation for it to be effective. Elements of truth in an information product make the disinformation more believable, like stories that attempt to undermine Western democracies, bolster their own success, and fuel conspiracy theories. For example, the German edition of Russian state-controlled Sputnik published an article suggesting that the US was conducting dangerous epidemiology in the post-Soviet space. We've debunked numerous instances of this false narrative targeting Ukraine, Georgia, and other EU Eastern Partnership countries. The Oxford Internet Institute notes that Chinese and Iranian outlets have also linked the coronavirus to alleged American biological warfare laboratories. Russian state media continue to amplify popular conspiracy theories. It has repeatedly advanced claims that Bill Gates is pushing for a global depopulation policy by injecting nanochips hidden in vaccines. Although the German edition of RT apparently mocked these claims, it does describe them in detail but does not clearly state that they are untrue. And that's a typical pro-Kremlin disinformation technique. Disinformation is legitimized as opinion without making it clear that the statement is untrue. In June of 2020, Facebook announced announced that it would start labeling state-controlled media outlets and block their ads from targeting people in the United States. The Oxford Internet Institute research is a good example of the need for a wider application of a labeling policy. After all, the food you consume has a label. Perhaps it's time to label the content you consume as well. But pro-Kremlin media declared this initiative to be a form of censorship and even suggested that Facebook is under the influence of the CIA. As the 75th anniversary of World War II came and went, Russia's revisionism regarding the causes and nature of the war got a helping hand from Vladimir Putin himself with the publication of his very long essay in the online magazine The National Interest titled The Real Lessons of the 75th Anniversary of World War II. That kind of high-level attention afforded to this topic reveals its importance to the Kremlin, meaning that we are likely to see a sustained disinformation campaign on the topic in the months to come. Our colleagues at EU vs. Disinfo have collected more than 250 disinformation cases about World War II and the Soviet legacy. A few weeks ago, we saw familiar messages from Russia's disinformation network attacking Poland for causing the outbreak of World War II, obfuscating the history of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and its secret protocols, and accusing Western countries of trying to rewrite history. We are told that the USSR incorporated the Baltic states legally and for their own protection, and that Western countries are thieves of history for claiming that Winston Churchill saved Europe without giving due credit to the Soviet Union. That's it for this week. Be vigilant, stay safe, and be on the lookout for fakes. Washing your hands and social distancing will protect you from the coronavirus, and critical thinking will protect you from Russian disinformation. Remember, if you spot any dubious news about Ukraine, forward it to us for a truth autopsy. I'm Marko Suprun, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.